What's going on, YouTube fam? Hey, we back at it with another one. You seen the title? Today's video, we're just going to talk a little bit on gambling addiction. Yeah, you see it. You see the title, gambling addiction. Tell me why gambling addiction can be worse than a lot of other addictions. And you don't even need to be on drugs or alcohol or food or anything like that. You could be living a healthy lifestyle. You could be sober, you could be not a smoker, and you'd still just have this horrible addiction, which is gambling. So just to get straight into it, you know, like I said, I'm just winging these videos. I'm trying to do the best I can just to give some people some pick me up, giving you the raw, unfiltered version. So I have been addicted to gambling for about 10 years. 10 years of gambling addiction. And let me tell you, it is not worth it, y'all. It is not worth it. If you want to win, just don't gamble. You're a winner. And this is going out to all the 20-year-olds that getting ready to turn 21 and able to go to the casino. They rope you in with the flashy lights. They rope you in with letting you win a little bit of money. Because if you gamble long enough, you will win. Doesn't always necessarily mean you're going to win a jackpot. But you might win. You might go in there with 40 bucks and leave with 100. And that's all it takes for that one quick fix of adrenaline rush. The lights, the music, the free drinks, the camaraderie to go with somebody and have fun, or you're hooting and hollering. Again, this is my opinion. I feel like gambling is a horrible, horrible addiction. I've been there. I've done that. That's why I'm speaking from my perspective. Now, to those who gamble and they are, you know, responsible with their money, hey, kudos to you. But for most people, and for me, it's a horrible addiction because you chase your win. You chase your losses. You blow money before you know it. You're broker than a joke. There was a time in my life where I would sit there and be broke, get paid, and instead of saving my money, go to the casino and sit there and try to flip my money like a dummy, like a young dummy, and lose my whole paycheck and then be broke after I just worked hard for 2 weeks for my money. Be broke the day after I get paid, the same day I get paid, because nothing was ever good enough for me. I'm a horrible gambler for the simple fact that even when I win, I put my money back in. It's never enough. I can win $1,000, $3,000, $5,000, and it's just never enough. Because I'll try to flip that, and I'll try to flip that, and I'll try to flip that. Because there have been times where I've done exactly that. I've went to the casino with $100 and won 500, and then with that 500 played something else and won 1,000, and then played something else and won 3,000, and then eventually left with the money. And then typically what I would do is go back the next day or the next weekend or whenever I could and take that 3,000 that I had, or, you know, go back in there with $100 and then lose that $100, and then go to the ATM and pull out $300 and then lose that, and then pull out more until the point to where my ATM wouldn't even let me swipe anymore. And mind you, every time you swipe your card, if you don't get the money out before you go, you're paying the ATM fee. And the casinos, they mark that stuff up because they know you're going to use it. So you're paying a $10 fee every time you're pulling out money. And it starts off light, just like any addiction. You know, alcohol is the same way. You start off, you think it's fun. It's what all the other younger people are doing. You want to be a part of the in crowd. You want to party. You want to loosen up and have fun. That's how it starts. And then next thing you know, it spirals out of control. And that's the same way a gambling addiction is. You start off with your friend, you turn 21, we can go to the casino now, woo! And then you go, you have fun. Even if you lose, it's still fun because, you know, in your head, you're like, I had a good time. My adrenaline was up. You didn't know if you're going to win. You didn't know if you're going to lose. You lose, and you're like, man, that was still fun. I'm going to try that again. And then you go again, and then you go again, and then you go again. And that's the thing about the casinos is they'll entice you to keep coming back even when you lose. Or if you win, they're definitely going to entice you back because they want you to spend that money and to, you know, keep coming back because they know they have the house edge. The house, which is the casinos, always have an upper edge on the machines, on the tables, on the any game that you could play there where you could potentially win money. The odds are totally in their favor. You know, it'll wrap you in. It really will. And you don't even know you're doing it. It's like any other addiction. Like when you're, you know, at least when you're, now I'm not saying any one's better than the other one. I'm just saying it's up there with the other ones because let's just say you're addicted to drugs. Yeah, that'll totally ruin your life. You'll lose everything and, you know, you could potentially die. But, I mean, drugs are cheap. So, for the most part, and, you know, you do so much, you end up dying. Or, you know, you get what I'm saying. Because you could be totally healthy and lose everything in gambling. You don't have to be drunk. But that's the thing. They pair it with, they want to get you drunk. So they give you the cheap drinks and then now you're drunk. So you're not in your right state of mind. And you got bells and whistles. And then you might hear somebody else that might yell and go, woohoo, we won. And you look over and everybody's cheering and clapping and you're like, ooh, that could be me. You know, that's how I am. Anytime I get in the zone when I'm gambling, all I can think about is, oh, well, that person won, I can win. Or I've won before, I can win. And it never happens that way. May every once in a while you might get a win. But for the most part, you're going to lose. And now, gambling's such a profitable thing, they have it everywhere where I'm at. They have it at the gas stations. They have it it's like Vegas now. They just got it everywhere. You go to the restaurant, they got them there. You go to any type of bar or whatever, which I don't suggest going to, but bars, they got them there because they know you're going to get drunk. They know you're going to chase that feeling of that adrenaline rush of winning some money. You know, you're trying to be cool with the girl you're with or with the dude, whatever. And some people just do it for a hobby, you know. It's just like it's an addiction like anything else. Is what I'm talking about. You know, we get in there and like I said, the flashy lights, people are greeting you. Oh, hey, how you doing today, sir? Good luck. Especially if you win, people are coming up, patting you on the back. Good job, buddy. Hey, you won. You know, hey, good job. You know, they want to make you to feel real, real good so that way you come back. Because they know, even if you win tonight, you'll be back. And I've seen it ruin people's lives. I've never gotten to the point where it ruined my life completely, where I lost everything, but I've seen people that I've known personally and other just random people that lost everything. Because it gets you to that point. There's, you know, that all it takes is one spin of the machine or one roll of the dice or one card and you're winning. You know? And then you could get it all back. I could get it all. If I, you know, sell my car for this amount of money and then I could, you know, flip it, and it's stuff like that. People do it, man. They drain their bank accounts, their savings, their life savings, and then it's the worst feeling ever. You know, I could give you guys a quick story about one of my buddies. Same thing, because where I grew up was in a rough area, so, you know, people were doing anything for money. And a part of the culture that I grew up in was gambling. And, you know, people would shoot dice on the corner or play cards for money or, you know, do anything, gamble on sports or whatever. And people have lost their lives over gambling. Literally, people have gotten shot in dice games for $5. They make rap songs about it. You know, there's a rap song going out right now that the guy's talking about how people get shot in a dice game for $5. That's how crazy gambling addiction is. And people are willing to risk their lives to gamble. Now, the safe way to do it would be to go to the casino because they got plenty of security and cameras. But even then, you never know who's watching you. Somebody could be watching you and see you win and you're hooting and hollering, woo! And they follow you home and rob you. Or follow you in the parking lot and shoot at your car and try to rob you or something. Like, I've heard of wild stories when it comes to gambling. You know, and back to my buddy, you know, we used to shoot dice in our little neighborhood or whatever, in the hood. And it was an addiction just like anything else. I've seen people lose their clothes because they had nothing else. They were just like, they lost their money. So they're like, hey man, how much would you, you know, let me gamble my shoes? You know, the shoes are worth $100, but I'll let you put them up on the line for $50. So that guy's got $50 now on the line, but for his shoes that cost $100. And then he would lose, and now he's got to walk home barefoot. I've seen people, you know, put their furniture, steal their mom's furniture out of their trailer and walk down the street where we were shooting dice and bring in a damn TV or their mom's furniture, like seriously, like a dresser or something. Like, how much would you give me for this dresser? You know, people steal people's stuff to try to go to the pawn shop and get a little bit of money just so they can go put it in a slot machine. It's sick, man. It's sick. And what does our government do? They benefit off of it because they're getting paid a percentage for every time the host, this casino, has to pay the state money. So the state's making money off of your detriment. The state's not going to come to gambling. The casino, you can go lose everything and go tell the casino manager, man, I just lost everything. I'm going to lose my house. My wife's going to leave me. I'm going to lose my kids. I'm going to lose everything. And they're going to go, sorry, sir, you knew the risk. Because when you walk through that door, it's gamble at your own risk. That's the crazy part. And now they got them in gas stations where the gas station clerks don't care who's in there. So they're letting people that's underage gamble. You know? And so people are starting at younger ages. There's people that bust their ass and work hard for their money, and they're so broke and they don't have the intelligence to save whatever they can save. They're, you know, let's just say you work hard all week and, you know, you pay all your bills, everything's good, and now you got $200 at the end of your paycheck, if that. And then people are like, I'm never going to be able to save up money with that 200, but you will. You will, but people don't think like that. They think, well, I got 200, maybe I can go flip it. And they might do it one time, take that 200 and go flip it, and they got an extra $1,000 for that week. And they're like, wow. You know, they take their family out to a nice dinner, and, you know, they do this and do that. And then they're like, that's such an adrenaline rush and such a high that they're like, they go back and chase it, just like a drug addict, just like an alcoholic. And, man, it's a dark, vicious cycle that you could go down. I've been there, you know, 10 years without ever like having any self accountability and just being like, just because even though you're lost, when you lose, you're pissed. Don't get me wrong, you're mad, you're down. You know, you got to tell your family you can't afford nothing. You feel that for that entire time until you get some more money and go again. But it's still, you never stop. You just go back, and because you think, oh, I can do it again. I can do it again. I can do it this time. This time I'm going to hit. This time I'm going to be a millionaire. This time I'm going to do this. And then it doesn't help whenever you see like professional gamblers online doing it. And then you think you're going to be just like them. It doesn't work like that. You know, the biggest thing that I've noticed since I've stopped gambling is how much money I've saved. Stacking up that little $200 or that little $400 or that little, you know, that little bit of money that I would just blow every day, every week. I would just, you know, at one point, you know, it was just get paid and let's go to the casino. Let's try to flip it. And then it got so bad. I meant to tell you all this. I know I'll be rambling sometimes. I'm gonna wrap this video up here in a minute, but I want to get back to my friend. He was so bad with it because like I said, we used to shoot dice in the neighborhood. And then when he turned 21, he ended up he was like, I'm going to go to the casino now and do it the legit way. And then he went to the casino. And, you know, and I remember just seeing in his eyes, he was just like, because he was really good by this time at shooting dice. It's called craps. And he was really good at shooting craps. So he was like, man, this is easy. He would go in there and he'd win and he'd win and he'd win. And then he would put it all on the line and lose. And, you know, he had kids at this time and he had a wife, and then he had to go home and tell his wife that he didn't have money to pay the bills. And then she was all mad and thinking about leaving him, and she forced him to go. There's a 1-800, a shout out. This is to anybody who needs help. They do have a hotline that you can call. It's like 1-800 gambling or something like that, or 1-800 gambling anonymous, something like that. You can look it up, Google it. Every casino, they have to do it. It's protocol because they have to have some kind of outlet for somebody. And basically what they do is ban you from coming into their casino, but they don't ban you from going into like the gas stations and still gambling. But once you sign your name on that paper, there's and some states are different. Some states ban you for like 5 years and then you can come back, and some states ban you for life. And so anytime you try to go in there with your ID, they're going to scan it and it's going to tell you that you're not allowed in there. And if you sneak in there somehow and you get caught, you can go to jail. So that's the only way they try to keep you from gambling. But you can still go to the gas station and buy lottery tickets and, you know, Powerballs and all this thing. So that's what he ended up doing. His wife forced him to sign his name. So then he started going to a close by state. He started gambling over there, and then the same thing happened. He had to tell his wife, man, I ain't got money to pay the bills. I'm going to lose everything. And so she made him sign his name on that state to where he couldn't go. So now he couldn't go to 2 states. And it worked for a little bit until he discovered that there was a casino 3 states away. And it only took 2.5 hours to get there. So then he'd be hitting me up, what's up, bro? You want to ride with me out to Indiana and go gamble? And then, so, you know, being bored and young and dumb and addicted to gambling myself, I'm like, sure, I'll ride out there with you. Let's make a road trip out of it. So we were roofers back then. So we would pretend like we were going to go roof and for the day. And then we would just not roof and drive all the way. And he'd throw me some gas money or whatever. And we would drive all the way out to Indiana, gamble, and not even have that much to take with us. You know, we'd have a couple $100 or whatever, and we would have this grand scheme plan. All right, this time we're gonna be serious. We're not just gonna make stupid bets. We're gonna do calculated bets. We studied gambling. We know what to do, what not to do. This is what we're gonna do. And we had this grand plan. We would get in there after a 2.5 hour drive, and without hesitation go to the first dice table we seen and blow our money within 20 minutes sometimes. And we don't have no other money. And now we got to drive 2.5 hours back home and find something to do for the rest of the day, because they are, you know, the people that we were buying to, saying that we were going to a roof, they knew that it, you know, you don't just roof in a few hours like that. So now we'd have to go sit at a park or something or go do something stupid and figure out how we're going to get some more money or what we were going to do. And it was so stupid looking back on it. Because that's the longest, the 2-hour drive there, you're hyped up. But that 2-hour drive back, silence. Neither one of us are talking to. We're not even looking at each other. We just both super salty is what we call it. You know, just can't believe what just happened. And there's been very rare times. We did that multiple times. Very rare times where we left and we both had money in our pocket. Or it'd be one way or the other. I would win a whole bunch of money and he would lose everything. Borrow money from me, go in there, lose that. So not only did he lose his money, he owes me money, and I got a pocket full of money. So I'm sitting over here on a high that I just won all this money, and he'd be sitting over there mad as hell that he lost everything and he owes me money when he gets home. So and it'd be the opposite sometimes too. He would win, I'd borrow money from him, it'd be the same exact thing. And then we would just be driving, and then, man, just, and it's a horrible feeling. And then you're just thinking, like, man, I'm gonna do it again. And you just go and go until you lose everything, man. It's not worth it, people. It's not worth it. Trust me. Now, if you're a really disciplined, self-controlled person, and you know you have the money, you have the savings, and you have the means, and you're only going to take a couple. Because I do have friends that, you know, they only take $20 when they go, and when they lose it, and they already know they're going to lose it. Now, that's more of the responsible thing, but I'm just letting people know that's not typical how it works. Most people, they chase that. They take that money, they lose it, they go to the ATM, they lose it, they go to the ATM, they lose it, and they say, you know, all their money's gone. I've done stupid things. I've gotten loans out of the bank just so I could have some money to go try to flip. thinking I was going to flip it at the casino. And sometimes it worked. Sometimes I've take $2,000 and go try to flip it, and it worked. And now I got $5,000. And I put that $2,000 back, and I got $3,000. So I'm just living life. Woohoo! I'm the man. I'm a G. I'm a this. I'm a that. I'm so cool. And that's not how it. That only lasted for a little bit of time until I went back, and just blew it off. And now they have online gambling, so where you could just sign up and gamble you don't even got to leave. You can go to the casino and do all that leg work. You could just sign onto your phone and gamble all your money. Bet on sports. And again, they make it seem so glamorous because you bet on your favorite sports team, they win, you win some money. It's a fun watching the game. Your adrenaline's going the entire game. You're like, oh, I hope they just maintain the score, and then they win. But talking from experience, you'd be surprised how many times that weird things happen. And I felt like it was a sign from the universe, from God, that I need to quit gambling, because that's how I ended up stopping gambling. Because back-to-back times, I would place a smart bet that I thought was smart, the best team versus the worst team in the league or whatever. And I'd put a bunch of money on this team because I know this best team in the league's got to beat this worst team. It's got to happen. They're on a 5-game losing streak. They're on a 5-game winning streak. It's got to happen. And the team that I bet on would be winning the whole game. And then so I'd put more money on it. I'm like, they're already up by 4 or 5 points or whatever. Let's just say it's a baseball game, 4 or 5 points. And then in the bottom of the 9th inning, some stuff you wouldn't believe, out of a movie, out of a book. It's like somebody whispered in the referee's ear or the player's ear and said, hey, Top Z placed a bet. Let's mess this up. And next thing you know, the other team, the worst team in the league, comes on a rally and hits grand slams and back-to-back weird stuff that you would never, like, even though you hear the commentator on the TV saying, this has never happened in 50 years. And you're just sitting there like, no! And you lose everything. And they have no remorse for you. And then they'll send you little coupons. Oh, if you gamble with us again, we'll send you a... And it's dark, dude, because like I said, you don't have to be drunk. You don't have to be high. You don't have to do nothing. You could be the best person in the world. Go to church on Sunday, do everything right, and then still have this dark addiction. So I suggest everybody stay away from it. I've gotten away from it. I've changed my life around. I'm saving money. I'm actually buying things and investing into things and, fixing things up that needed to be fixed and going on trips or just having money in the bank account. Man, it feels great. It feels so great. And if I would have just saved so much, bro, I'm going to tell you this and then I'm going to get out of here. If I would have never gambled, I would have 200 grand in my bank account probably right now or more. That's how much money I've lost over 10 years of gambling. Seriously. No matter, even if I win, I put it back. I go, well, I'll just play with a little bit, and then I play with it, I lose it, and then I keep dipping into the bag, and the next thing you know, I just was up 5 grand, and now I'm pulling money out of the ATM to get more money out and lose that. Because that's how it works. You go on a little bit of a winning streak, and then you just go on a hard cold streak. And you just think, all it takes is one spin. Gamble, like slot machines are you just click, 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 and it's just your money. And you're like, come on. And then you get a bonus, and, this is going to pay me. And then it doesn't pay you, and you're like, oh, one more bonus. If I just get a bonus, I'm going to win. It's a vicious cycle, y'all. I'm telling you from experience. And the only thing I try to do on this channel is tell y'all things that I've been through and that I've done and that I've ruined. And hopefully somebody that's young or somebody that's going through this can read this or listen to this and get something from it and go, you know what? That guy seemed really passionate about what he's talking about. I don't know him from a can of paint, but he seems like he knows what he's talking about. Because like I said, these videos are unedited. They're unscripted. I'm just going off the seat of my pants so that way y'all can feel how real I am with the content, And I want people to save their money, invest their money. There's so many financial advisors out here that can help you. You just got to find the right one and, do your own research and judgment and use your common sense. A lot of people don't have that no more. Common sense is uncommon nowadays. I know that. But man, you can do it. You could stop gambling. If you got to sign your name on that 1-800-GAMBLING anonymous thing, and so you get barred if that's what you got to do. But that's one of the toughest addictions, man, because it's I don't know. It's just a feeling that you want, and you just feel on top of the world. It's a time passer. You could be having a horrible day, and the worst thing in your life happened, and you go to the casino and just drain all your worries away, sitting there for hours, just click, 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 click. It's one of those things. It's like a pacifier, I guess, for the reality of life, but it just make it worse. I'm telling you. Hey, shout out to y'all for staying this long. Like, comment, subscribe. It's Top Z, and like I said, I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just giving y'all a little bit of what I've dealt with, and wish I wouldn't have, man, because Lord knows I would have a whole bunch of money, So, all right, y'all. Peace. Till next time.